Good morning, guys. Welcome in. Welcome. How is everybody doing? Top of the morning. Frederick, good morning. Rick, Javier, Barbara, Xavier Logan, Sue Whipple, Barbara, welcome in, guys. Jorge, hope everybody's doing well. Nice day yesterday. What a nice day yesterday. What an incredible day. I mean, just good price action. It was nice. It felt really good. It feels good to be right. I think that's what it really is, right? Nothing really incredible. Nothing really was wrong with Thursday session or Wednesday session. It felt good to be in the right side of the trade yesterday. I think that was the real thing from yesterday's session. Very nice, refreshing price action. We were right. I mean, not only was there execution right this time, but the idea was right. And I think that was the most important thing. That was what was bothering me on Wednesday. Execution right, but idea was wrong. Yesterday, both execution and idea in tandem, in sympathy, right? Moving together. This is what I want to see. I want to see them moving together, right? Obviously, this was the 673, really 672.70 level from yesterday's session was the break and retest short on the S&P. And it nothing to do with SPY, but really mostly to do with ES, right? That ES 6,800 level, a beautiful break retest short under that level yesterday. That was a trade from yesterday's session. That was the most beautiful trade from yesterday's session. I mean, obviously, what an incredible move this was on our Thursday morning. So today's session, I'm still a little bit under the weather, so you have to bear with it and just deal with it. I understand that it probably audio is probably not as good, but that's all right. That's all right. Mike, great day yesterday. Exactly, Mike. Yep, that was the this was the best trade. Mike and I both went short off 6,800. This was the best trade of yesterday's session, and Mike and I were battling it out on Wednesday. So going into our Thursday session, it was nice to get the idea right, because execution and idea both in tandem, moving together. That was the trade of yesterday's session. So today's session, we're going to talk a lot about what's going on here, not only on the SPY chart and ES chart, but we're going to go over what's going on here in Qs, because as the title of the live stream says, the one level I'm watching today is actually QQQ 610. And this is going to play an important role into how I decision make today. 610 is a very important level. And you guys have seen this time and time again. The market does this, right? We see big downside, back up, big downside, back up, big downside, back up, big downside. And it looks like we're doing the same thing again, right back up. So today's session, we are going to look and see, do we just go right back up, right? Which is really already happening right now on the pre-market session here in Qs. But a lot of it is going to be determined today by whether or not we are above or below 610. So 610 being a major pivot this morning. Let's discuss this in a second. We're also going to go over some names I'm watching. Amazon is one that I love right now. It's one of my top watches this morning. And fortunately for me, I'm already in this, so I don't have to chase this right now. And that's why I wanted to do. I think, how many of you guys took Amazon? Did you guys take Amazon either on shares or maybe on options or on an option trade? I'm trying to, I do this a lot on my own, is I'll position trade for a few days or even a few weeks. And for me, I'm not a big swing trader. I don't really do well with swings because I tend to get finicky when I see 30 or 40%, I just sell it, right? But when it comes to shares, I'll trade this on, a decent size of shares and hold it for several days, even several weeks, as long as my stop is maintaining. And this is something I tend to do a lot, and it gives me a lot of alpha. So let's keep watching Amazon. Amazon was what we discussed in the live streams. Also when we discussed on the Honey Drip as well, right? So right now, 225 breaking. This is going to be a key pivot for us moving forward. Let's talk about this today. We're also going to go over Starbucks. Starbucks is a trade that I'm watching for, again, actually not a position trade, but actually a long-term equity buy here. So Starbucks being one of my top watches this morning for longs, not this morning really, but this week. So we'll discuss this as well. We'll go over Apple, we'll go over Tesla, Tesla doing a whole lot of nothing, and we'll go over some other names today as well. We'll go over AMD, AMD doing that previous high breaking retest, the previous all-time high breaking retest for 27. We'll go over Nvidia as well. Nvidia is a fun one, 190 breaking retest. Obviously, it didn't fully test yesterday, so this is still valid for today's session. So let's have a good pre-market, guys. It's 8:39 in the morning. My face is huge. My head is huge. Let's make my face smaller, and let's do this. All right, so that should be a lot better. Let's dive right into it. Right, so I can't yell too much today. So this is I feel very restricted right now. I feel very restricted because I can't yell at you guys. Burmy, thank you very much. That is very kind of you, Burmy. Let's get a family. Absolutely. Yep. Let's keep pushing. Thank you very much, Burmy. Much appreciated, Burmy Trader. Okay, so, man, I want to yell right now. Today is Friday, October 10th, and this morning we have Goolsby speaking. So we have Goolsby at 9:45. Goolsby the Ghoul. Right? Besides that, we have consumer sentiment at 10 o'clock. Barring that still gets released during a government shutdown. Who the hell knows? Again, who the hell knows? I have no idea if this is being released or not. I think it probably is. No idea. Okay, but 10 o'clock consumer sentiment. Government is still shut down. I think we are on, what was it, the 10th day or 11th day of government shutdown? What's the actual number here? Is it 11th day of government shutdown? It's something like that, right? So it's a pretty, we're pushing big numbers here, and we're likely going to be shut down into the weekend as well, and probably into Monday. So it's going to be an interesting weekend as well. I think this is going to be a very interesting Friday session. Okay. Besides that, going into next week, which I want to discuss here very briefly, is obviously today's session. You can see that today's session on the 10th. The 10th we have the consumer sentiment, right? But going into our Monday session of next week, we have a lot of big data. Okay, we have CPI, we have core CPI, very big data, and this data, as far as I'm aware, is only released if the government is open, right? And so if we don't get this PPI data and CPI data, the Fed's not going to be so happy, because how is the Fed going to make informed decisions if they don't have data in front of them? So ideally, government opens back up next week. Otherwise, we're going to be in for a very volatile Wednesday and Thursday session, or actually Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday session. Okay. So besides that, today is all about charts. I want to spend today's session on charts. We're going to jump into the SPY chart. What am I doing over here? On the SPY chart, and we're going to have a beautiful Friday morning. Okay. Run the likes up, guys. I'm over here with half a voice right now, doing a pre-market webinar with you guys. I'm already done for the week. I clocked out yesterday, and I'm still here. So this is market is not closed on Monday. Market is actually open on Monday. We have a federal holiday on Monday, but the federal holiday is only for bonds. It is not for our equities. So banks are closed, the bond market's closed, but the equity market is open. So be aware of that going into a Monday session. You may get some low volatility on Monday because of that low volume, low volatility, but just be aware of the fact that Monday is still a market open for us. Okay. So let's do a check here. We have 725 viewers here this morning with 329 likes, which is actually not that bad, to be honest. The view count's low today, so the like to view ratio is not too bad. Anyway, get the number up, guys. Much appreciated. Let's dive right into it. So on the SPY chart, what we discussed on SPY yesterday happened again, right? So, I mean, just time and time again, what tends to happen here is you're playing a game of ping pong, okay? That just seems to be what's happening over and over again. And one of the biggest things that I did yesterday, one of the most important things that I did yesterday going into my Thursday morning was I said, guys, let's just focus on the levels I'm going to trade off of, right? We decided to get rid of everything in between here and here. That was it, right? And we realized it's really just about here, right? So on the Thursday morning, it was all about 673, right? 673 to 672.70 and change. And we knew that if we lost this level, we're going back to here. We knew that if we were above this level, we're going to do this, right? So basically the scenarios were pretty simple. It was either going to be a maintenance above, I can't even speak. My voice is so crazy I can't even speak. It was going to be either a maintenance above 673, right, for longs back into highs, or it was going to be we fail below 673, 672.70, and we see the downside move back down into where? Into the lows of where Thursday was, which actually was the Tuesday's lows before the breakdown, the Monday's lows, and that high level from Thursday and the high level from Wednesday, October the 1st. So this was a very important level, right? We knew that this was the most important inflection point going into our Thursday morning. And very quickly, we knew where the where was. So the where was simply just that level right there. And then at the open, right, you guys saw we failed below it very quickly. So we opened above it, technically. We failed below, retested it. This was the best possible retest for shorts, and the downside move came in the market all day. Now, I want to make an argument here. In my opinion, this level, 673 on SPY, It kind of was difficult to see how important this level was yesterday. I mean, and to be honest with you, I don't know why it was difficult to see why this was important, because you can see it was simply just the Tuesday's highs. But if you see it in ES's chart, it becomes much more apparent, right? This level is just 6,800 ES. So we knew that this was the bull bear pivot. Downside move under 6,800, and we moved into a level here. And arguably, you can just take this level and take this level right here. See this level right here? The level right here that I'm talking about? You see this Thursday, October 2nd high. You see the little level over here, this level over here, right? Take this level, right? Do this. Throw it out the window, right? We don't need it. You guys have seen time and time again that nothing matters in between this ping pong, right? That's just a median, or a little mean level, right? The levels that really matter are simply these highs over here and these lows over there. That's just all it is. You've seen time and time again, upside, downside, upside, downside, upside, downside, upside, downside. Nothing in between the range matters. Stop charting it, right? So if you go to the SPY chart, back to SPY for a second, and you're gonna look at this chart and say, well, hold on a second, where's your next level? Well, it's the same thing, right? It's just simply 673 and 669.50, the lows of yesterday and the breakdown level from yesterday's session. That's what is important going into our Friday morning. Here, Friday morning, we are basically given the same exact levels. So if you see us today's session do this, right? That's your short, right? If you see us today's session do this, this is your get the hell out of shorts, or even look for a long trade, right? So your longs are there, your shorts are here. That's just all it is. And time again, we've seen it happen many, many, many times. Now, eventually, what may happen is, let's just see, for example, at Friday, this morning at 9:35 in the morning, you see a big fat green candle sending us all the way right over here. Well, don't short it then, right? Look, let it break out. Let it break out. Let it do this. Let it give you some upside, right? Because again, above 673 is back bullish. Above 6,800 is technically bullish. Now you see us fail back below it. Then that's your short and the downside move. So the point that I'm trying to say is all the trades that you take today should be guided by 673 in the S&P and 669.50 on the S&P. That's just simply what it is today here on the SPY and ES chart. Again, the ES kind of repeating what I'm saying here on the SPY chart over to ES. You can see here it's the same thing, right? You have your previous all-time highs, right? 68.12. That doesn't really matter to me, right? What matters to me is 6,800 ES and our demand below 67.66. Now, in an ideal world, you see us just fail. So many times this has done this. We've seen big downside, we buy back up. 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 But again, I think that if you are watching for shorts today, it's got to be back at these highs over here, right? Look for us to fail back lower. If you could fail again here, look for downside. And there is an argument here that eventually, the more times you tap this demand below, i.e. the demand below 67.66, the more times you knock on that door, think of the FBI at your door, right? The FBI comes with one of those, the big barging things, the door busters, right? The first tap of that door buster may not break, but the second tap, the third tap, the fourth tap, the sixth tap, that door is going to break down, right? So the more times you tap, the more times a door buster taps that door, the more likely it is to break. So I do think we're going to get a range break at some point. Now, for me, I want the range break to be on the downside, right? I want to see us back under 67.66. Now, is that just because I have a bearish position? Probably, right? Probably is. But this is what I want to see is I want to see us back under 67.66. If we do break under the Thursday's lows, then I argue we move back down into these lows over here, 67.43, which would be a nice downside move, and probably even lower. We should probably move. I argue this. If we break down underneath these Thursday's lows here, I think that we don't see it move back just back into here. We should see us pull back into, and this is my 2 cents here, but back into 66.80. I think we go back to this golden level at some point. I think at some point we go back into the FOMC highs. That's a very logical place for us to retrace to. FOMC highs, 66.80 on the ES chart is where we're going to at some point in time. I don't know when it's going to be, but I think it will happen eventually. Now, granted, again, I'm not all bearish here, because if we do this today, then we're obviously not bearish anymore and upside comes in. So just be fluid, right? Understand that we're fluid and guided by levels, and levels are right in front of us. Bam and bam. That's just what it is going into our Friday morning, okay? Let's move on. A battering ram. Yes, Darius, it's a battering ram. It's a battering ram. It's exactly what it is. So on the Q's chart, you can see here, I think this is perhaps the most important level to watch this morning. And if you look at the description of the live stream this morning, it is what? QQQ 610. And the reason why QQQ 610 is so important is because it is simply just the highs of Tuesday session. It is the breakout from Wednesday. It is the retention spot from our Thursday session. You guys see, look at all the reactions at 610 here. And conveniently, it is also the Friday's lows, right? For the pre-market lows, right? So this is the current Friday's lows, the pre-market lows here at 610. If we can get back under 610, look for the break and retest short downside and move back into 608. This is a nice $2 downside potential here, back down into Thursday's lows. That is the most important thing here today here in Qs. If we can break this level, downside back into this lower here. If we hold this level, then obviously market probably maintains itself and moves higher. That's just simply what it is here on our Friday pre-market, okay? This is the easiest level for you. I want to yell so bad right now because I am not emphasizing how important this level is, but I'm going to try to do it as much as I can. This is the most important level today here in Qs, is 610, okay? If we are above this level, bullish. If we're below this level, bearish. I want to see us back below this level because if we fail this level, we are going to fail across the market and see some downside back into 608 into Thursday's lows. This is a very good short today session, okay? So watching 610, obviously, don't just short everything, right? If the market does this today and just maintains, then where's your short? There is no short, right? The market's just holding bullish structure. The short is back under here, right? So understand that. And you can take what I'm saying. My bearish mindset this morning, right? You can take it and you can flip it and say, well, Brett says we're bearish under 610. Therefore, what are we above 610? Well, we're bullish, right? So if you see us maintain it, then look for longs there, right? So you can take the same thing I'm saying and flip it around if the market does hold 610. Okay, so obviously, very big level here this morning on this Friday morning. Okay, let's move on. Let's jump into some other names. I want to go over, someone's saying Target, first name Target. No, we're absolutely not going to do Target first name, but we'll do Target in a minute. Type your tickers in the chat, and we're going to go over as many as we can. Now, the beauty behind today's session is, for me today's session, I'm mostly checked out, right? I'll just be honest. I'm mostly checked out. I got my good trade on Friday. So Thursday session was really all I needed. Today's session is going to be mostly for me about structuring my next week. I want to buy some long-term trades today. In fact, one of my main stocks I'm watching is actually Starbucks. And in a weird way, I'm going to go over Starbucks first. Okay, Starbucks is actually one of these names everyone's talking about. Go do yourself a big favor, right? Go to Starbucks on the news right now. And you're going to see, if you go to CNBC, you go to Seeking Alpha, you go to Zacks, right? What do you say? You're going to see 10 reasons to sell Starbucks, 5 reasons to sell Starbucks, why Starbucks is a lagging stock, why Starbucks sucks, right? And then eventually what's going to happen here is Starbucks is going to do this. Starbucks is going to retrace probably somewhere off this trend line after a 40% trace from highs, and it's going to do this. Starts bouncing, right? And then you search Starbucks, right? And Starbucks is going to say on the news, 10 reasons to buy Starbucks. Why Starbucks is rebounding, right? This is what's going to happen. Everyone's dogging Starbucks right now, and it's very easy to attack Starbucks, but Starbucks is a strong company. And even though the financials are a little bit iffy, I think we can get a good equity buy here in Starbucks somewhere around the 75 point here. So I'm watching Starbucks for an equity buy, and you can dislike it. I don't care. But this is what I'm doing. I'm going to be buying Starbucks. I made money on this dip. I made money in these dips. I made money in this dip. And if you are from Honey Drip, you know what I'm talking about. We longed it almost on all these trendline touches. I've longed it, right? Almost every single trendline touch here I've longed. So on the 4th try, I'll do it again. So watching Starbucks for longs. And this is going to be one of my main focuses today here on this Friday is to see, well, what can we do here with Starbucks? So watching this for an equity buy. Again, giving my ideas here before it even happens. Okay, next ticker is Amazon. Amazon, it was a beautiful equity trade. So excuse my notes over here. Let's get rid of this. But Starbucks was an equity trade. And somebody yesterday was making fun of me on my IG. They're like, Brett, you sold Starbucks, you sold Amazon at 3%. Well, yeah, I did. I sold some Amazon, right? I got an Amazon over here, and this was a position trade. So it's almost like trading options, but trading large size equity. So you have 2 ways of trading, okay? You can swing trade options, or you can swing trade with an equity position, right? And if I'm going to swing trade options, I'll probably trade 5 to 6K, right? I'll trade 5 to 6K of maybe some 2-week out options. Because in that view, I risk 2K to make, I probably risking 1.5K to make 3K, logically, right? That's what I'm doing here, right? If I'm swing trading that much, I'm doing that to make this. Or I can do this. I can buy 90K of shares, okay, tie up more capital, but have less data decay. And I can do this. I can still risk between 1.5K to 2K, right? And how much money do I make here? I'm gonna make 3K to 3.5K, right? The same thing. Why? Because it's the same thing, just on larger size with more shares. So that's the idea here. Is you may assume that these position trades in equity aren't that sexy, right? 3 or 4% on a move like this is not that much. But it is. You just take it on more size because you know your risk was simply just under the daily 200 SMA. So you knew your risk was right here. Why not? And technically, if you look at this from a risk perspective, excuse me, if your stop loss was here, if your stop loss was under 216 here, and you got in at 220.7, right? 220.7, well, then technically speaking, you've already, at this moment here in time, you've already met a 1.5 R here. So you've already met your 1 R. So this is not spectacular yet, but it's just starting. And if this can go now to where I think it's going to go, 230 plus, we're going to realize a 2R. If it goes to 235 plus, we're going to realize a 3R, right? And then obviously that's just, this is not an average. So you probably average still around a 2 to 2.5 R, but here on Amazon, I am looking for this to go back to 230. Now the question is, if you are a day trader, what can you do today here on Amazon? I know you guys are not all here in swing trades and equity positions. So if you guys are day trading today, well, one of the top watches you should be looking for is, are we maintaining above 225? Because this level and this level and this level is the most important level to watch today's session. If you are day trading this, you can watch to see, are we above 225? Because if we are, you can look for the beautiful upside move that'll bull flag into this level for a new leg higher, right? Watching this today for a top watch for longs on day trades. Now, if it fails back below 225, this is your moment to say, shit, I'm wrong, and then you get out of your trade. So for me this morning, I was long Amazon here. I sold some there yesterday. Now my new stop loss is going to be here. Because if we fail below 225, I'll give it to 224 for volatility, then we're going to go back lower. So this is your pivot here this morning is 225. If we are above it, bullish, below it, bearish. So right now, looking for longs here at 225 for a continuation trade higher. Okay, that is Amazon. I know I'm going over names that you guys probably aren't trading, but this is what I'm trading. So I'm going over what I'm doing first, and then I'll go over the names that we can all watch together. Okay, so let's do that now. Let's move on to some names we can all watch together. Nvidia. So Nvidia is obviously a sexy one. Okay, this was one that was hot yesterday. And transparently, I was actually looking for lower in this name. So I was watching for the 190 bounce yesterday, and this didn't pull back far enough. It bounced around to 191.1, okay? But I still think at some point, this will pull back to my level, right? Eventually, almost every retest, almost every gap does get filled. This was a gap up in the market, right? So if you look at this from a daily chart here, look at the daily here for a second. I believe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong, but no, I am right. Okay, so you can see this. This is the gap up in the market, okay? Gap ups almost always get filled. Almost always get filled. I think the stats are 83% of all gap ups get filled at some point in time. So at some point in time, this chart will pull back to its 190 level, its retest level, okay? It pulled back to 191.1. That was cute, but it's not what it is. This is not the gap fill level. I mean, you may think it is, but it's not. The gap fill level is actually technically 189.4, 189.5. So if we do pull back today, look for the longs here back at the gap fill level. I don't want to long it over here. I want to long it right over there. That's my long spot today here in Nvidia. Simple as that. I don't care about anything that happens in between here and there. I don't care, right? This doesn't matter to me. This is noise. It may kind of get you all riled up. It may say jump into it, but at the end of the day, we can't chase it. It's got to be back over here. Now, granted, okay, if we do break above these highs now, right, and start retesting it, then I care again, and I can look for longs back at these highs. So again, it's either above 185, which is crazy but valid, or it's going to be the 190 pullback. So watching this as my top watch today's session, okay? Nvidia 190 and change. AMD. So just like AMD, right? Remember we said AMD, and for a while, this chart here at AMD reminds me just the same way as Nvidia does, because this is what I was saying. Technically, what I'm saying on Nvidia is here, right? It was when AMD looked like this. So what I just said on Nvidia is when AMD looked like this. Do you understand what I'm saying here, right? What I just said on that Nvidia chart is just the way AMD looked at this moment, right? And I said this. I said the major retest level is here, and this has to pull back there, right? or Or if you want to get aggressive, look for this. And I said that this is my top watch. This is where I would be, right? And I don't really want to be doing this, but this is still valid. So this happened, right? The scenario that happened was a scenario that I wasn't very keen to. I wasn't very happy about, but it is bullish, and you can't deny that there was a bullish move yesterday or on, was this on? So this was on Wednesday session, right? So going back to Nvidia for a second, I know I'm flip-flopping here, but going back to Nvidia, you look at Nvidia, and who's to say that Nvidia can't push highs here, right? It may do it, right? In fact, this would be another break just long here for an upside move. So this is still valid. Don't misinterpret my argument here. This is still valid, but I want this. This is what I want, but you could trade this if you see it clear above 195 with conviction, okay? So back to AMD now. Back to AMD. So on the AMD chart, what you're watching for now is probably just a pullback to the previous all-time highs. So we have 1,000 people here this morning, and we have, how many likes do we have? 1,000 people here this morning with approximately 470 likes. Guys, 30 likes to my target. Get the 30 likes. Otherwise, I have to stop the stream. No, okay, I'm never going to do that. But 227 is the level, and that's your level today, this morning. Okay, so a little bit of a bull flag here into 227. We're either here bullish or here back bearish for the downside move back into the retest level. So for me this morning, I am watching for 227. If we can pull back there and see us start forming a demand here, this is my long spot. Okay, so watching 227 as a hold spot today on AMD. Okay, Frederick Price, thank you very much. That is very kind of you, Frederick. Much appreciated. Thank you for always supporting the live stream. So again, repeating myself, but AMD 227. Moving on, let's jump to the next ticker. Apple. Okay, Apple is a bearish name, and I do think that we were right about this one. I think that our analysis here has been pretty good recently. Been very good recently, and you can see that the read here was that we were bearish under 257, back into 255, and then I think, who said it? I think it was Spliff said it. Where's Spliff in the chat? Get Spliff in the chat. Get Spliff in the chat, because he was talking about, Spliff said, Brett, sure, under 257 is great, but look at the failure under 255. That's also a break and retest short, and he was absolutely right. Look at the short that Spliff was talking about on that Thursday morning, right? You can see a little break and retest short here. You can see beautiful break retest downside move, right? So obviously very nice chart here on Apple. Now the question today is, what can we do now here? Well, there's two ways to trade this. Both ways are bearish. Apple is a name that is moving relatively weak against the market. It's moving, well, the market's moving higher. While SPY is doing this today, right? SPY is doing this right now, okay? Apple is doing this. Look at this chart. In fact, run a comparison here. Let's pull up a comparison between SPY and Apple. And you're going to see, look at what Apple's doing, right? Apple's moving down while you have the S&P kind of guiding up here. So if you look at this chart now, with that idea of the fact that Apple is relatively weak, well, we can actually watch this for shorts in two spots. Either one, we can watch for shorts back into the breakdown level from yesterday's session, 255, right, for a downside move. Or you can watch for shorts back under 253. So I like this chart a lot today, right? If you want to trade a relative name today, focus on Apple. Apple actually one of my top watches for shorts this morning. If I day trade today, it probably will be a name like Apple, okay? Under 253 for shorts, or the failure here, 255 for shorts. That's what top watch today here on the Apple chart. Okay, let's move on. Let's go over a few more names. It's 9:03, so we have 2 minutes left to cover a few big ones. Let's do Teslita. Tesla's doing nothing, okay? And this is like something that I think one of the most important parts about trading is, strategy is big, okay? Strategy is important, levels are important, but it's knowing when to trade things and when not to trade things, because it's kind of like, okay, if I'm a new boxer, let's just say I'm boxing, right? I just started boxing, okay? And you throw me in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, I'm gonna get knocked out in 2 seconds, okay? Tesla is Floyd Mayweather right now. I wanna be boxing a 4'1" midget. That's who I wanna be boxing. When I'm just starting out, throw me in a ring with a 4'1" midget. That's why, okay, I gotta get canceled, now I'm gonna get canceled. But throw me in a ring with someone with someone who's not Floyd Mayweather, okay? Tesla's Floyd Mayweather. If you want to trade and you want to trade Tesla, you're trading against Floyd Mayweather. Why do it to yourself, right? This chart is going to chop you around. It's going to slap you sideways and you're going to lose money, okay? Very bad analogy, but this is the most important thing, is stock selection. Look at Apple. Apple, I can structure some ideas behind. I see it's 255 rejects, below 253 for puts. This is a real trade that's in play right now. Amazon, I see this, right? I can see it. Nvidia, I see this. I can see it. Tesla, what the hell is going on here, right? You have your ups, you have your downs, your ups, your downs, your up, your failure, your up and down, up and down, right? Nothing is going on here on the Tesla chart, and therefore it is going to be difficult to trade this. Be smart about your stock selection. In fact, I'm going to say nothing here. I'm just going to say the supply above 445 and demand below 416. When this does break above highs here, upside. If it breaks below lows here, downside, then I can get involved here. But until then, I'm staying away from this, right? Let's move on. I bet you my view count just dropped like 50 people because I said that comment, because that's what YouTube does. YouTube's going to cancel me. I don't care. They can cancel me. Meta, on the Meta chart. Meta is bullish. So Meta 727, it's bullish here. 710 held, 1 to 727. As long as we're above 727, we're going back into 740. 740 is big supply though, right? So supply above us, 740, demand below 727. Palantir, PLTR. Palantir 188 is your big level of resistance, okay? So this said Palantir profit taking spot 188. If you're long Palantir, you should be out by 188. That should be your guided take profit is 188. Once you're there, get out of your longs, okay? Moving on, let's jump into some other trade. Let's do one last ticker today's session. Now, granted, I will say this. Every time I talk smack about Tesla, tends to be the day that it moves. So maybe Tesla does move. Maybe it does move, right? But you want to see it do something that's going to make you of interest to it, right? And what does that mean? Basically, above here or below there. And you can maybe say below 427, maybe under Thursday's lows. But again, you want to see it do something. You don't want to see it. You don't want to do that. You don't want to trade Tesla when it's in the range of the same range of its previous day. This is not what you want to trade this. So again, maybe Tesla does move today, but it's got to do something either above the previous day highs or below the previous day lows, because until then, it's range bound, right? Let's do one last one. Let's do INTC. INTC quickly. This is actually a nice chart here. If you can turn this 38 level into demand here, this is going to rip. So watch 38 for a break retest if you are a small account trader. This is your break retest long here. 38, big level. Path, PATH. George has been talking about this one all pre-market, so I got to go over this for him. You can see here, Path is, what is Path doing? Path, this is a new ticker for me. I don't think I've ever gone over Path before. But I'll say this, it's at big supply here, right? This is when things become frothy, right? Look at the supply zone. It's in a major supply this morning. So your level of supply is 18.8, with about 19.0 essentially. So this is your big level of supply. I would be cautious here. This is where I would begin to get cautious. 19.0, you can see that's the big start of that downside move, big upside, right? So 19.0, big supply here. Be aware of that going into our Friday morning. Guys, that is it for me today. I'll see you all for live trading. If you are green this week, protect your capital. Don't go full port 9:37 in the morning, right? Just protect your capital. Look for some other ideas today. Today could be a day where you structure long-term ideas. It's where you structure swing trades. It's where you structure and balance your portfolio, especially at all-time highs on the S&P. You should be doing these things. You should be, because most people, what they'll do is they'll wait for the market to do this. One day it does this. And they're like, oh my God, now I rebalance my portfolio. Now I'm going to restructure my portfolio. Don't do that, right? Do it now, right? Do it while the market is hot. Do it while you can get out of trades in the green, right? Do it while the market is, no one's talking about downside. Do it these moments because you'll feel far more flexible than when the market's back lower, right? So today, on this beautiful Friday, for me, I am doing that. That's my game plan for today's session. Maybe some day trades, Apple, Nvidia. Let's see what happens. But again, that's my guide for today. I'll see you all for live trading. Bye, guys.